Long ago in Dakar, when the sun baked the streets until even the lizards looked tired, there lived a young drummer named Musa. Musa was not rich, not powerful, and certainly not respected by the French colonel who ruled over the town. But Musa had one thing that nobody could take from him, his drum. The drum was his heartbeat, his laughter, and sometimes even his stomach, because when he played at weddings or naming ceremonies, people gave him food. His drum was covered in goat skin, polished smooth by years of tapping. Some people said the drum had its own spirit, because whenever Musa played, it seemed to answer back. In Dakar's market, Musa always sat under the white branches of the baobab tree. Women selling fish and millet teased him, saying, "I Musa. If beating that drum could fill a belly, you would be fatter than the governor himself." Musa only smiled and replied, "Oh, but my drum speaks more sense than the governor's mouth ever did." The women laughed so hard that their headscarves nearly slipped off. One hot afternoon, when the market was at its busiest, the ground trembled with the sound of heavy boots. The French soldiers marched in, their faces red from the heat, their uniforms sticking to their sweaty backs. At their head was Colonel Dupont, a man who hated noise almost as much as he hated losing. He stood in the market square, fanning himself with his ridiculous hat, and shouted in his broken Wolof, "Tomorrow, silence. No drums, no gatherings. If I hear one more boom boom sound, I will take all your drums away." The market woman muttered, some shaking their heads, some hiding smiles. Musa lowered his eyes, looking as obedient as a goat tied for slaughter. "Yes, Monsieur Colonel," he said with a voice as sweet as honey. "No drum tomorrow." But the moment the soldiers left, Musa's smile returned. He tapped his drum gently, a secret rhythm that only the villagers understood. That night, he gathered his friends. They sat in the shadows, the air full of crickets and sea breeze. "Tomorrow," Musa whispered, "we will not use words to warn the people. We will use rhythm." At dawn the next day, Dupont and his soldiers strutted into Dakar like proud roosters. They expected silence. But the silence did not last long. Suddenly, the market burst alive with drums. Boom, ba-ba boom, ba-ba-ba-ba boom. Women clapped, children danced, men stomped their feet. To Dupont, it sounded like a noisy festival. He grew red in the face, shouting, "What is this nonsense? I told you no drums." But what Dupont did not know was that every beat carried a message. Musa and the other drummers had agreed on signals. One rhythm meant, "Hide your eyes." Another meant, "Move the cattle into the forest." Another shouted through the air, "Do not let the soldiers near your storehouses." The villagers smiled, pretending to be lost in the joy of dance, while secretly passing the warnings from ear to ear. The children, clever as always, joined the game. They sang little songs that sounded playful but were actually codes. "Dupont eats too much bread. Hide your mullet, hide your head," they chanted, chasing each other in circles until even the soldiers laughed at their foolishness, not knowing the children had already delivered the message. By the time Dupont finally realized something was wrong, it was too late. The rice was hidden, the cattle were gone, the millet locked away in cellars deeper than the soldiers could find. All the village treasures had vanished like smoke. The colonel turned purple, shouting, "Stop this noise. Stop this drum." But the more he shouted, the louder the drums became. Musa beat his drum so fast that it sounded like fire crackling. The women ululated, their voices piercing the sky. Even the old men, who usually just sat on stools drinking tea, got up to clap their hands. The marketplace became a whirlwind of sound, color, and laughter. Dupont, confused and sweating rivers into his boots, stamped his feet like a spoiled child. At last, when he realized the villagers had beaten him without raising a single weapon, he stormed off, swearing in French. The soldiers followed, dragging their rifles, embarrassed and hungry because there was nothing left to take. When they were gone, Musa played one last rhythm, light, playful, cheeky, the kind that made everyone laugh. The children imitated the colonel's angry walk, puffing their cheeks and stomping in the dust. Ewa, the biggest gossip of the market, called out, "Eh, Dupont. Even the goats refused to follow you." The whole market roared with laughter until tears rolled down their cheeks. From that day on, the villagers of Dakar told the story of how a skinny drummer outsmarted the colonel with nothing but rhythm and wit. And whenever someone asked Musa what happened, he only tapped his drum and said, "If you listen closely, you will hear the story yourself." And truly, If you walk through Dakar's markets many years later, you could still hear echoes of that defiant rhythm bouncing off the walls, reminding everyone that the drum was not just for dancing, it was for speaking, for warning, for resisting, and sometimes, for laughing at the powerful. Did Musa do the right thing? Should he have used the hash method to protect his people instead? What do you think? Let us know in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment.